Sorry, what now? We can start?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, a one, a two, a one, two, three, four. Since we are not going live, I can take this liberty. So I'm going to introduce the two of you. Besides being my favorite students now, that's a complete lie. But essentially, being students of mine, and really excellent Micans. What is really interesting to note is you have been influencers, for a while now. Both Arushi and Ayushi, welcome to tell me about it. Now, Arushi has been with me in this journey for a while, so she knows
Yes.
exactly. So she's laughing her ass off right now because she's just like, what is this? I don't want to be on the other side. But let's talk about Arushi first. I want to talk about Arushi first, and then I'll get to Ayushi a little bit later. The first time I saw Ayushi, she was in class. She was trying to listen to whatever was going on, and then at the end of the class, I realized that she had this influencer account, and then she kind of connected with the fact that my kids were influencers, and then we had a bit of a conversation at the end of the class. And that was when she told me that she dreams big. She wants to do something really big, and I've been a massive fan and supporter ever since.
Yes.
And she did some work with me, or she pretended to do some work with me in the DCM project. But now she is on this particular platform to tell us all about how she became an influencer and what she thinks about the whole world of influencing. So
Yes.
welcome to the show, Arushi.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. Like, it's pleasure to be with you and to be on our very own show. So thank you so much.
It's so interesting, no? But now you got to forget that you're on your own show, because you're going to be grilled like everybody else. Anyway, but coming back to now, Ayushi is a really interesting cat. So because she's somebody who, so she was an influencer, like you, Arushi. She was an influencer before she came to Micah. Yeah, and that's interesting. But she still chose to come to Micah like you did, which I really don't understand why you guys did that, but you did that. And Ayushi has been somebody who I've never seen a greater combination of sincerity, absolute sincerity, and yet taking herself lightly. So that's a very interesting combination to have, because I believe that it can help you reach a lot of places with your imagination, but then you have the ability, the willpower to follow it through. Ayushi has been my student. She did a wonderful DCM project herself, and she was somebody who I had a lot of wonderful interactions with for the DCM project, as well as a lot of other related things. She used to think that I'm half mad most of the times, and she still probably does, but that's par for the course with Ayushi. I think she speaks first and then reacts later to her speech a lot of times. So that's why probably she's on the written thing. She's been a Quora influencer and a LinkedIn influencer, and she writes on Medium. She writes wonderfully well, and she is both of them, Arushi and Ayushi, are wonderful marketing professionals, right? Arushi is just joining ITC, and Ayushi is now in healthcare. And we were just joking about how she finds her timing impeccable, because healthcare is an interesting place to start when there's a pandemic. And she was in payments when it was demonetization. So you've got something going there for you, Ayushi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Professor. An absolute delight to be here.
Okay, so having said that, I just wanted to introduce the topic.
Yeah.
So the topic is this, right? Everyone and their uncle is trying to be a influencer. Okay, and this is a topic now. The fact is that if you leave the influencer bit aside and just try to figure out, okay, so how does the average Joe actually create influence, or how does the average Joe actually create a personal brand that works? Joe, Joey, Joel, Joanna. Okay, not being politically, yeah. I'm being politically incorrect over here, rather. So how does that average person actually become somebody who can have a powerful personal brand, or maybe have more influence, and therefore have a better and better impact on their careers, is something that I wanted to explore in this, in
Okay.
this, yeah.
So shall I start?
No, hang on. I haven't asked the question. I haven't asked the question. So calm down, and I'm going to use my professorial abilities to actually ask you a different question first.
Okay.
So my first question to both of you is: when did you guys realize that, hey, I got something going on here which I don't particularly realize, but it's bigger than who I am, or who I thought I am,
Okay.
and it's kind of taking a life of its own. So, and when was the inflection point, um, when you realize, hey, I'm doing something different here, something special? And can you explain that a little? So either one of you can go first.
So, okay, I will start. So
Yeah.
from my childhood, I was always this small person who's standing in a group of 15, 14, and then she'll be like, no, no, listen to me. We should do this. This will create an impact. And I was that chota sa, that leader kind of a thing. But then gradually, whenever classes happened, I was always this person who had certain different opinion. But
Mm.
that time it was more like it was related to studies or knowledge, or it wasn't taking me anywhere in that sort that I'm creating an impact or something. But later on, during my undergrad days, I was someone who was always used to travel a lot. Like I used to go to places, I used to go to cafes, and I always used to find that a lot of people don't know about a certain cuisine or a certain place. So
Mm.
I am from a smaller city called Indore, and here people are very much foodie. Like they love to eat, they love to go, but they don't know about which place to go when.
Mm.
So this curiosity of mine made me start a startup. Its name was Indore Voyage. So there we were doing magazines, like we were writing magazines, and we were writing articles about places, which place to go when, and stuff like that. And then suddenly, like it was a small favorite cafe of mine, and then I wrote about it and I posted pictures, and suddenly people started liking it. And I got like 15, 20 DMs asking about that place, that where is this? Like, we have never seen this place. This place is looking so interesting. What is this food about? And suddenly I realized that why am I not putting more pictures? Yeah, like why I'm not writing? I just post pictures about me or random stuff. So that that amalgamation of two, like starting a startup on travel and food and writing about it on a platform like Instagram, and then
Mhm.
connecting to people about it. Like they found it very relevant and they started going to that place. And then
Mhm.
suddenly I realized, okay, yes, maybe I should have my opinion on social media platforms as well. So that
Mhm.
was back in 2014 or 15 when I was in undergrad. All started. So maybe
It's interesting. Sorry to stop your flow of, but it's interesting to note that you were writing first before you became like a visual, exploring visual. Is that
yes,
right?
yes. So I have always been that person who writes in her notes, like in the phone notes or in my diary. Like wherever I go, I used to write about this, that I
Sure.
found this very interesting. Like this point should be done. So then I thought that why don't I write it on platforms as well? Because I was this someone who was active on Facebook but never explored Instagram. My friends told me that why you not there? Come on this platform. But see now, like I am this
How
Instagram.
old were you? How old were you when
So
you did this?
I was 18 or 19, and my friends were already there. But that time I was more like that I want to study and I want to make something good out of my career. But somehow this Instagram and my career became hand in hand later on. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. But you have like over 70K Instagram followers, and that's like an incredible place to be, in spite of the fact that probably you are not as active as you wanted to be when you were at MICA doing your management degree.
Yes. So it's kind of difficult for you to study and do Instagram as well. So as you know, like we all have been MICA, we have classes going from like 10 to 8. We have so many activities, so many committee work. So it's not only it's there's this fact that maybe you can put pictures about what's going on in MICA or maybe what your brother's marriage is about. But I was not able to do the actual stuff, like the actual influencing and the brand collaborations I used to do. But somehow I kept the page active. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's fine. But from an inflection point perspective, it was more to do with people DMing you about something that you had written about Indore, and some food place in Indore. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Honestly, that was the point when I realized that I should write more and I should put pictures about places and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. Ayushi, what about you? When was the inflection point for you, saying, there's something different that's happening here?
So mine's interesting in the way that I have always been a very avid reader, and people who know me as a hardened bibliophile.
Yeah.
And it's part of my influencer personality as well, if I may call it so.
Yeah.
In 2013, I began writing on Quora, and I
Okay.
would just write about books and literature and book recommendations. Slowly, I drifted into writing, adjoining content that had to do anything with literature.
Yeah.
And that was just the way of life as it was. Nothing spectacular happened. I mean, I had a few hundred followers that increased, etc.
Right.
One fine day, I wrote an article on Life of Pi, which had just released and had been nominated for an Oscar.
Hmm.
And the next morning, I received a call. I was at college in a different city, and I received a call from my mother, who
Hmm.
said that you are on Yahoo's homepage. Now, in 2013, 14, it was kind of strange and,
Yeah.
not utterly shameful to be on Yahoo's homepage, if I may call it that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she says that you've written an article on Life of Pi. I said, yeah, I did. I wrote it on Quora, not on Yahoo. She said, no, check, a reporter's picked it. So what had happened was that I had written an answer. It went viral on the platform, had thousands of likes and hundreds of comments, which
Hmm.
had been picked up by a journalist and had been made into their own content and was subsequently getting even more traction. And I wrote to Yahoo and asked them to take it down. And because it had such traction, they refused. And I threatened to sue them, and it became an internet debate. I was
So how
17, 18 years
when you were trying to bring a class action suit?
I was 17, 18 years old. I was in BCom first year.
All right.
And but I realized that okay, I've landed onto something, and I woke up one morning and saw that I had 4,000 notifications on Quora. That's literally how it started.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those things that I kept writing and writing and writing, and I had 5 likes and 10 likes. And one morning I woke up to 4,000 likes and fighting with an American corporation.
Wow. No, so that's a really interesting thing because you've shifted from Quora to LinkedIn as you were talking about before the podcast began, before the webinar began, rather. I was trying to figure out what made you kind of explore LinkedIn then? And was there another inflection point that was connected, or it happened very naturally, or what was the deal with it, or was it like a calculated, thought through thing because you were older and you were doing a management, and that also had an impact? How did it all go?
So I almost never do anything in life which is too planned. Like I plan the nitty gritties, but never the big picture. And I let serendipity happen to me. So
Hmm.
I had a batchmate who had been picked up as a LinkedIn campus ambassador,
Hmm.
and he was desperate to get a few of us to write an article or shoot a video.
Right.
And unfortunately, I had agreed to it. So nobody wanted to write, and hence on a matter of principle, I said, Ki, if I promised you, fine, I'll make a video. So I made a CV video for LinkedIn and put that up. I
Hmm.
was not aware that this particular campus ambassador, this guy from my batch, had a deal with LinkedIn that LinkedIn would promote or sponsor that content via their algorithm. So it wasn't a sponsored post, but it was something as part of this campaign that would get traction. So even
Nice.
today, if you search for my name with LinkedIn, you will find that first article where that video again went mini viral, not viral per se. But I received 3 job offers, and I was still on campus during that time. Because
Wow.
people did, yeah. So and that's how LinkedIn happened really, because I realized, oops, I've landed onto something, and I just continued to write.
So in both cases, it was serendipitous. And you said something really interesting, which I might probe a little later as we speak, is about the fact that you said you actually are kind of ignoring the big picture and are focusing on the nitty gritty. Now that's a very interesting view, and I'd probably also, or maybe we can cover that right now. And because I wanted Arushi's take on this as well, like if you're missing, if you're kind of ignoring the big picture, and it's strategic to miss the big picture, why are you doing what you're doing?
Okay. So, like, I
No,
have a certain
are you like that, or are you?
yeah, I'm coming to that. So I have a certainly different point of view in doing things. So
Yeah.
I have always been this person who actually plans my next move. So
Mm,
certainly, like when it comes to Instagram, also there are people who are influencers, but what they do is suddenly they'll post 2 3 pictures in a day, then they'll just vanish, then they'll come again, and there's nothing like consistency. So
mm,
what happens with me is that I actually like earlier before coming to Micah, I had this social media calendar of mine. Like in a week, I will post on these days. The content will be about this, and then how I will go about it. So now even if now if I get the time and I want to make this Instagram better, so what I'll do is like there are a lot of content platforms. Like there's IGTV recently, there's Reel, there's Stories, there's Post. So what a certain influencer or person who wants to create an impact should do is they should try all the platforms, but in a way that that person covers it in a time frame or a timeline. So suppose it's a week, 2 days there should be IGTV, one day there should be a post, one day there should be should interact with the people who are there. So when it comes to me, I've always been this person who plans it. So right now, like as Ayushi shifted from Quora to LinkedIn, I am trying to like create certain impact to write about my opinions on LinkedIn as well. So
no,
that
I've
is
seen that.
also
Yeah.
yeah. So that is also in a way that I plan it, like what to write and when should I write.
There's a very clear goal or outcome in your head, and
Yeah.
you're going towards that goal or outcome. And
So I
yeah,
set smaller milestones. Like what happened earlier, I had this thing when it was Instagram. Like I have to switch from 20 to 50K, 50 to 70K, 70K to 100K because there's this range of influencers which I know. Like there's nano, there's micro, there's a mega influencer. So I always wanted to become that. But
hmm,
then my content and my way of thinking shifted because I came to Micah, and my content was more about MB and stuff. So now what I was thinking was maybe I should put content on that to shift to reach that milestone. So it's
okay.
always like a milestone there in my mind, and I continuously work about that, and my ideas keep on coming in my mind. Next should be this, next should be this, or something like that. Yeah.
So you're saying that you have some milestones, but
Yeah.
do you know your big picture as to where you're going with this?
So my big picture is like my bigger picture in a way is that because everyone has certain opinions and they don't get that opportunity to be the voice of people. So I always wanted to be that person that if someone has a certain opinion and they want to make it known to people, so I want to make that voice heard. So
Hmm.
I like in my undergrad days there was this certain like a smaller thing which I did which a lot of people don't know about. So a lot of people, a lot of women friends of mine were facing a lot of problems, like they were getting harassed or something. So I created a page called Voice of Women. Like I wanted to make that page go better and keep stories live and stuff like that. In Indore Voyage also we did a thing where we used to write human stories. So there was this transgender who was looked down upon, and I was just going to my coaching. Then I thought after like what is happening with that person? I came back and I interviewed that person and then wrote a story about it, and like Humans of Indore, that got so viral, like it was in every newspaper, and that person got a job in Decathlon. So I
Okay.
wanted to be that voice of people. So somehow I haven't reached that point, but I want to reach somewhere in my later life.
But it's there in your mind somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to be a voice for the people who are marginalized or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get.
not exactly marginalized. There can be people who want a certain opinion to be heard. It can be through anything. Like maybe someone is MBA, he wants to be explore other careers. So I
But
want to make that voice heard. It can be
okay,
anything. Yeah.
okay. All
Yes,
right. Now I'll go
very
back.
interesting to me.
Ayushi, yeah, I want to know, Ayushi, what's your take on it? Is it
I am the exact opposite.
Yeah, so let's hear about it.
So I'm fairly clear that the reason that I write
Hmm.
is for selfish purposes,
Hmm.
and I do so in order to be separate and identifiable from whatever I'm affiliated to.
Hmm.
So I recently actually wrote a post on Medium on looking at yourself as a brand versus looking at yourself as a product, right? A
Right.
brand is something that you put intangible human attributes, and you can't simplify a human to that level.
Hmm.
It's in a way limiting. And
Hmm.
to me, I and this actually comes from one of my favorite VCs who I keep whose tweets I keep liking, Naval, and you have to be bigger than the association you're affiliated to, because your credibility and your reputation should not be linked to where you work, which school you went to, and it should be more you than anything else. So the
So
reason
who is this person you follow? Say that person's name again.
name Ravikant.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Have you seen his podcast on with Joe Rogan?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that right now.
Okay. All right. We are not going to talk about that right now. Fine.
I,
All right.
I want to do Joe Rogan conversations after this.
No problem. We'll hear about.
Yes, so for me, I am very clear that irrespective of the channel that I talk on, whether it's a blog or a LinkedIn or a Quora, whether I'm working in banking or pharmaceuticals, my personality and the attributes I carry need to come through. So I genuinely am not doing anything for people. In the course of being who I am, I end up helping people, which is that I now work with multiple mentoring organizations because of.
Sorry, what I'm understanding from you, which is very different from what Arushi is saying, is that Arushi is got a very clear external goal. You've got a very clear internal goal. The internal goal is, okay, I want to selfishly kind of figure out, build my personal brand in a way that is going beyond or above the affiliation that I may have. And by affiliation, I understand, work affiliation or whatever it may be, right? So that's how I'm understanding the way in which you're positioning this thing in your head. Is that correct?
Yes.
Interesting. And so then how does it play out? I mean, so you don't have a big picture, but of course you do, but it must be an internal big picture.
And it's very interesting, Professor, because I think what Arushi and I both try to do, she is led by helping people, and I have subsequently been involved into helping people to get where I am. So you can't really ignore that as a goal. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, influencer is somebody who influences, right? So whether you start on your own journey and end up helping people and then get into this path, or you start with the intention to help and then, get on to something.
Yeah, I guess you got to do what works best with you and your frequency, I suppose. So, that's fine. So you don't have an external big picture, a conventional big picture, but you do what you want to do or what you want to achieve in terms of a goal for yourself, right?
True. So I, for instance, am really not motivated by if I have 30K followers or 60K followers. But I'm very, to me, what has been, if somebody asks me what are the wins for your LinkedIn piece, that's somebody who's my career hero, and I will not name him, but I was very inspired by him during my payments days. Actually spoke to me and remembered me from an industry conference from 4 years ago, and we had a very long chat. Somebody who's an industry leader reached out to me on his own. And he's somebody who's been part of the Indian corporate milieu for over 30 plus years. Okay. And so for me, those are wins. The volume doesn't really make a difference so much as the impact and the quality of relationship that I derive.
Okay, understood. So it's very interesting, but just one final related question on this particular thing, and then we'll go ahead into the actual topic of the day, which is the way in which these webinars go in any case. But so you're at a place with Quora and LinkedIn. I'll ask Ayushi first, and then Arushi can chip in. So, and maybe for Quora and whatever, you can translate that into Instagram and LinkedIn and whatever.
Yeah.
So you're at this place, right? Both of you. One of you has got an internal picture. One of you has got an external picture. But you don't have very clear views on what the end goal is like, right? Even though you are very clear on the path, the direction, and you're also probably clear on certain shorter term goals, the end goal seems to be vague in some cloud somewhere, correct? And I'm beginning to wonder whether that is actually some kind of strategic mechanism.
Okay, since I have to go first, I would say that's probably because in history before we've never had influencers, right? We don't know what the end goal and end game of this is, right? So if Joe Rogan did his podcast, he didn't know it was going to be sold to Spotify for exclusive rights for so much.
Correct.
And what does thereafter, what does it say mean for him? I don't know what these things mean for me on LinkedIn or any platform, because what
Yeah.
is the end goal of being an influencer? Could I assign an end goal to it? I know, for instance, that the end goal of, say, having a career probably is financial independence early. I could still look at tangible terms like that.
Yeah.
But you could be an influencer in words and fail on a lot of accounts.
Yes.
So just having vanity likes
Mm.
and vanity interaction over a period of time doesn't really lead into a big picture goal. And we don't know how it's even done for people who've been, say, influencers in the last decade on social, because everything what you're doing is creating something new, whether it's a new channel, a new platform, a new audience.
So very
So,
interesting answer. Arushi, what about you? What do you feel?
so I think, like, as Mona said, that there were not influencers before, but I think it's always related to a medium. So, there have been people like John Cena, or there have been people like MDH Masale Wale Uncle. So, there have been people who have been very famous, who have been known by
What
every
are we
person,
talking of
and
MDF
who,
Masale Uncle? Okay.
yeah, so who have been who have been those influencers, but they were on TV or they were on a certain show. And
Mm.
this decade, it turned to social media, and there are people who started gaining traction and became social media influencers. But
Mm.
like, what I think is there is no certain bigger picture in a way, but there have been always been, like, it's related to the context. It's there, like,
Mm.
after a certain point, being a social media influencer shifts from a personal point of view also, and from an external point of view also. Like, from a personal point of view, maybe, like Mona said, that it's not always about likes and all. I totally agree, but it's all about connection. So whenever I'm on LinkedIn and those industry professionals reach to me and tell stuff, it's always interesting to interact with them and make a long term connection. So that's an advantage which is there on a personal level. And when
Mhm.
it to on the external level, you see that there are a lot of trends which keep on coming, and what these people expect is that these influencers should try it first. So it's always like a game where you are playing that, okay, now this thing is launched, you have to put in your view, like what can you do about it, so that maybe people get influenced, maybe people will hate it or like it, what is it about. So you are trying to create an impact subconsciously. It's somewhere there that you don't know, like, what you're trying to do, but it's more like sometimes people relate to it, and that is the whole game.
Interesting. So, as usual, both of you have some really diametrically opposite views. So, if somebody is going to listen to this entire thing and there's like, oh, I'm convinced about what Ayushi is saying, then they'll listen to Arushi. I'm convinced about what she's saying, and now I'm fucking confused. So that's what's going to happen, right? It's going to be particularly interesting to see people's reactions. But what I wanted to ask both of you is, now that you're in this game, right, or a game for you, Arushi, maybe path for Ayushi, right? I'm just trying to figure out influencer marketing as a career. What do you think? Yeah. So
So
maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
Okay, go for it.
you know, so there's this thing. There are the top influencers of Instagram. The, like, when there's career, there are a lot of tangibility which you want to see. Like, first of all, you want recognition, and
Hmm.
those influencers are getting this recognition as a blogger. Second is, you want monetary benefits,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
these influencers, there are people on Instagram like that Boho girl. Her name is Kritika Khurana. There's this girl called Caught in a Cuff, Ria Jain. There's this girl called Ashna Shroff. There are a lot of influencers who
Hmm.
are in the top influencer game,
Hmm.
and they like earn 2.5 lakhs to 3 lakhs per post. Can you imagine? Like, and this, I'm not saying, like, in general, I was in a contact with an agency who told me this, like, this is an inside news, that they earn this much from a post. And imagine the amount of brands they have and the amount of impact they try to create. So as an influencer, they are creating impact in terms of monetary benefits. They are their net worth is in millions of dollars right now. So I think, as a career influencer, being influencer or doing influencer marketing on a certain platform where you know how to make changes in your journey, it can go great. But you need that kind of
hold on.
dedication.
So let me push back on this one a little, right? You've
Yeah.
always, I don't know if you've seen a show called America's Got Talent or
Yeah.
something like that. So there
Yes.
are these horrible people who come in on stage and try to sing, not knowing that they're singing terribly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole bloody show is encouraged and is created because 8 out of 10 are horrible and 2 are good, right? So when
Yes.
somebody hears something like that from you as an influencer who's actually seen it and been maybe 70K is not no easy feat. So
Yeah.
would you agree to the fact that it can be misrepresented as a legit career for most people?
Yeah, when you see the larger picture and you see it in a percentage share, it may not work for everyone, right?
Correct.
Because not everyone is getting deals. Most of the people only get barter deals and stuff. But then
Correct.
there's this point that all those people who are getting either barter deals, like I'm telling it from my personal point of view.
Yeah,
Like
100.
before Micah, I was this someone who was earning a lot from influencer marketing and from my startup, and like it was like going hand in hand with my engineering, but I was earning a lot. But then when I came to Micah, my whole focus shifted. Like I was more becoming a person who's into studies and who's not focusing more on Instagram. So suddenly the brand diluted, like my brand diluted or my kind of dedication diluted. So it's mostly like if so a certain person is knows what to do and is dedicated enough, he will earn and he will make a legit career out of it in a longer run. But you have to be a hustler, you have to be that kind of a struggler who's in Bollywood and trying to become a star. So something like that. Yeah.
That's quite an analogy.
Yes.
I think sir is not there. Please try to ask each other a question.
Yes. That is right.
All right. So now coming back, sorry for that, folks. What I okay, actually
Yeah.
let's ask Ayushi this question, right?
Yes.
Because what we I need her to speak. She's used to speak so much to me. I'm missing her voice in this conversation for the past few minutes. So let's go for it.
So for me, it's worked out very differently from Arushi because Instagram influencers have a very direct relationship with brands and money, right?
Huh.
It's very product driven. For me, it's been different in the sense that so because of the LinkedIn journey, my current job opportunity is something that I got through LinkedIn. Um,
Correct.
while this was happening, I worked on a couple of live projects, which again happened through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I started mentoring and working with students, two organizations through LinkedIn.
Right.
So it's basically LinkedIn did not give me money, but it gave me opportunity, which really helped me get a lot of money by working on other things, right? And it makes sense, right? Because it's a professional community at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I see a lot of people doing these very wannabe posts on LinkedIn, right? Because you feel you deserve to have an opinion on everything from Zomato's strategy to a startup's expansion plan to a trending marketing post. And
Correct.
sometimes I'll also post that.
Huh.
But your content is worth nothing if you cannot tie it back into your personal brand or deliver on the work that you get from your LinkedIn account. So that's absolutely important. When you asked if I would look at being an influencer full time, I would not, because there's so much to learn and so much to do. And to me, this is a very small part of my life. However, being an influencer can really blow up a lot of opportunities for you. Because I was so active on Quora in the literature sphere, I joined something called Broke Bibliophiles a few months before I came to Micah, and it's today is Mumbai's largest reading community, which has over 5,000 members. I run that community.
Wow.
There is no publishing event that I don't get recommended to. Books come to my house to read and review. I am and I mean, I've hosted events with everyone from like a Lisa Ray to a Amita Mahale and a bunch of best-selling authors. This is non-monetary. I don't take money from people to participate in Broke Bibliophiles, nor do I earn. The maximum that I've got out of it is books, and the maximum that I've given to people out of it is books.
Right.
But the sheer impact that it has on reputation and is fabulous. So I'm starting off a literature podcast very soon, and I haven't, and just in the stage of recording my first season. I have 10 authors, ranging everyone from a Harvard professor to India's top journalists, who, without wanting to know anything, just on the basis of Broke Bibliophiles, recorded their episodes with me.
So what I'm hearing from you is that there are many ways in which influencers can shape their careers, and influencer marketing is just one of them.
True.
Yeah. And you're choosing not to go down that path. You're trying to look at how you can have maximum impact rather than actually trade in all the chips that you've gained as an influencer, whether on, anywhere, right? All the stuff that you're talking to me about, what you're trying to do with this bibliophile, you said, right?
It's called Broke Bibliophiles.
Okay, Broke Bibliophiles. Okay, so yeah, well, there you go. I can understand, but it's a very interesting way in which you can look at, let's say, influencers and the way in which you can shape their careers. But you said something really interesting, and that brings me to the heart of the topic. And I want to get to that and ask you the question, and Arushi her take on it too. The heart of the question that I have is, everybody and their uncle is trying to figure out how to talk on LinkedIn or how to talk on Instagram and all of that, right? So I'm trying to actually find out from you, okay? How do you think about that? Should people be doing that? Should people be building their personal brands, all of them? Okay, including the painful introverts or people who can't do anything or whatever. So what do you feel is the right strategy for an average Joe to do? I'll ask the same question to Arushi as well, because these media themselves are different, so I want to have a nuanced perspective on it.
I'll break this down into a few things.
Sure.
I think you can truly only be an influencer if you have absolute mass appeal, the way, say, Arushi talks about altruism or food or fashion, or when you have extremely niche appeal, like heavy highbrow literature, for instance, in my case, or early careers on LinkedIn. I don't give generic, like all my content around is helping people in their early 20s do better. I am not here to teach 40-year-olds, how to hire, for instance.
Correct.
So you need to be knowing on a spectrum what you're talking about. That's the first. Secondly, I think everyone should talk on social media channels, your life, your business. But it's also very perceptible when you're putting on a show and being performative versus being who you truly are. And you know that, Professor, I think as somebody who's on multiple channels himself, that it's who you are. It's not that a brand Sid Deshmukh changes on his Traveling Professor podcast and between his LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
But then suddenly these people who will put a Black Lives Matter post on LinkedIn and have a blackface image on their Facebook from 8 years ago, it doesn't work that way. And your strengths play to the platform that you're on, right? So I could never be on TikTok, for instance. So there is that. So can everybody be an influencer? No, because it's a game of probabilities. There'll be so many and someone will come up on top.
Yeah.
Everyone should write. I think it's wonderful that, or write or create or whatever. It's at best inspiring to someone, at worst unwinding for yourself, right? So I don't think there's a problem with anyone creating content. But to try too hard on social media is as laughable as trying too hard in real life, which people don't realize, because we spend so much of our lives on social that we now instinctively know when it's real, when it's not.
But just before I get to Arushi, so do you think that people should not be building personal brands?
Of course they should, but can I, for instance, talk about fitness on Instagram? Obviously not, because I'm very lazy. It doesn't fit who I am. But if I were to take a loose fat challenge and make it into a thing on Instagram, I could, right? So if you're absolutely, why does anyone want to be an influencer, right? One is a very shallow motive, oh, I'll make money or I'll have vanity. But the second is that you are just somebody who wants to make the best of the time that they're spending online. That's also the case, right? So everyone is welcome to try their own voice. Maybe you will connect with 500 people, but you'll be doing them a service or doing yourself a service. And it doesn't matter that so you could have a group of 500 people who discuss chess, and you're a high intensity influencer there, as opposed to somebody who talks about golf to 3 million people. So
Right.
everyone has their own thing, and I think everyone should have a voice.
Sure.
Yes.
That is still a sorry, Arushi. I'm going to ask you to wait for a minute more. I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of this, right? Do you think that building a personal brand can be a distraction for a lot of people because you've been told to build your personal brand? Do you think that it can be, especially to introverts who don't know how to, be social or whatever, or just people who are lousy at it? And who might be good at somewhere else, or who might end up being good if they spend those 10,000 hours somewhere else, so I just wanted to know your take on it. Or do you think it's a necessary evil? Everyone has to have some kind of personal brand.
I think unknown to all of us, we all have personal brands in life, even though we don't try. You meet someone, this person is a slacker. Or for instance, when you introduced me, you said there's a mix of sincerity and not taking herself too seriously. That's a brand, right? You
Yeah.
haven't, even if I never posted a single article on LinkedIn and you had just taught me, you would know that about me as a brand. And
100%.
people who read my articles and posts on LinkedIn, the constant feedback I get is that your posts are quirkily insightful, right?
Right.
So that's what it is at the end of the day. It's you. If your personal brand in life is being an introvert, you could become a Susan Cain and a TED sensation, or you could just hide in your bedroom. It's what you've chosen to do with your life, and,
Okay.
and nothing wrong either ways.
No, I get it. I get it. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Arushi, what do you think? Now let's hear the exact opposite view.
No, so this time I think this time I am agreeing with Mona on a few parts. Like certainly the first one is that like she said that you should know who you are and what you want to talk about. So obviously, like even if there are platforms and you're being platform specific, you should know what you are talking about. For the very first thing, like even when I talk on Instagram, I have chosen certain things which I'm talking about, which people can relate to. And when it's on LinkedIn, I'm keeping the context safe, like what the context is about, and then I'll speak accordingly. So yeah, I agree on this part of hers that yeah, you should know who you are. And it's like everyone has a brand. Like even in marketing, we have thought we all have personas, every person has a persona. So that's true. Like we all are having it on in our lives. It's okay if we don't post it on social media, but if it's okay if you want to. But what I want to make clear is don't have those desperate attempts. So as you said earlier, that most of these every Joel are trying to become that influencer. So like you may know about some things. So whether it be anyone, they have a certain kind of interest. So you know, like all these influencers also, be it Mona, like she has this interest in literature. I have this interest in fashion. If it's there someone else, like you are a traveling professor, you love to travel, you have this interest in marketing, right?
Yes.
So all of us have certain interest, and we can certainly speak about it, and we will know more about those certain domains than other people. Like Mona will know about literature more than anyone else. Like every other 15 people in the room, she'll know about it more. So yeah, you can tell it to the people and they can learn from it. So in those ways, you can have an opinion and you can have a voice. So for that, you should know what you're speaking about. First of all,
Arushi, let me just probe a little deeper here. Now, imagine that an average Joe or Joella had about 8 hours of time. Okay, how many hours should that person in 8 hours of time? Or Pareto, I'm trying to understand. Like 10 hours of time, you can take whatever. How many hours should that person be trying to build a personal brand?
So it's most of the time it should not be a desperate attempt that you have to build a personal brand and you should dedicate these many amount of hours for it. Sometimes, like you said, that there's a certain point when you realize that something is working for you. So for example, I was just seeing this one person on Instagram. He has started reading books because he was very free during COVID, and it started working for him. So he has started putting it on Quora, on Instagram. He has started making videos. But there's a certain limit to it. Like if he'll do more and he'll keep on making this his whole life, then it will be a problem. But you can obviously have an opinion because you have a certain interest and you can make it something. And And I want to like just have another plugin which Mona said, that most of these people have these personal intentions, and you should be known more than your industry or where you work. From you should know, you should be known more. So, for example, there's this relative of mine who is the like ICSI president right now, but most of the people know him because he's an ICSI president and not on the bigger picture. So people like those should have maybe have a personal brand where they have certain other opinions also, and where they speak more on the front that on their learnings. So for you to have your personal brand, I think you should have know your learnings and then tell people like, okay, this is my interest, this is what other.
I must stop you there, right? For
Yeah.
a person who is so driven by metrics, okay,
Yes.
and who's given me numbers and all of that, you have not given a number here. I asked you out of 10 hours, how many hours would you? And you're saying it's impossible to define, right? That's what I understand your
I
answer.
think it depends a lot from person to person, you know. Like you
Yeah.
can't just have a mantra to it. Like being an influencer, I will have a certain like you must have seen in these 10 to 15 minutes of speaking, Ayushi Mona has a certainly different mantra to what I have. So you know, you don't know what will work for you to become an influencer, but you should have this self realization that you are not making desperate efforts to be one.
Yeah.
You can obviously speak about it, you can speak about what your interests are and make a difference, make an impact, but don't just have desperate attempts. So it is
Okay.
like a journey. It is this here to have a personal brand on your own. It is like a journey. Like time to time, you learn, you'll fail, you'll get the context, you'll get the numbers. So, for example, earlier I must have been getting 80,000 impressions on a post. Right now, if I write about something else, I'm just getting 100 likes. It can happen, right? It's not like anyone can. It just shifts. It keep on shifting. You have to be in trend. You have to align that with your interest and then speak about it. So Joe, whatever can be a personal brand, but for him to be that, he should have certain parameters and certain context to
Okay.
what is going on right now.
Now you want to say something, Ayushi?
I actually in the 10 hours in a day, I started writing on LinkedIn during the time I used to commute. So I spent 15 minutes a day. And I
See,
think
there you go. This is so
Yeah.
interesting. Now you're the person who said that she doesn't look at bloody metrics, and here you are giving me a very nice metricy answer.
so the metric is not for the channel, the metric is for my own life. I
Ah,
think
okay.
that I have work, I have to read, and I have to do, my other projects. This
Ah.
is what I can afford. Also depends on your audience size. If I have a small audience size, I don't need to invest in time to pander or to them. I
Yeah.
can but because I don't know Indian, I became Indian local. I spend one Sunday a month talking to people in the community, hosting events with them earlier till now virtual. And that time is great for me because every single person who attends the meet know anything on, and that person goes up to just a connection on my virtual profile to a real life connect. I use my time accordingly. So 15 minutes a day maybe, but 3 hours a month, and there is a very clear different purpose.
Okay. All right. So I think your metrics are more to do with how you're spending your life rather than what it will do to have that impact. So you're not actually focused on something external, is what I'm hearing. Okay. Now here come the googlies, right? I promised you a couple of googlies, so I'm going to give you those googlies right now. And you probably have a head start on this, Ayushi, because you've done this actually even before the googly happened to you. But I'm going to ask this in any case. Maybe to Arushi first and Ayushi later. What if Instagram, like we've all seen TikTok suddenly being shut down,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So anybody who's a TikTok star, they're kind of basically going to have a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
What if Instagram stops tomorrow? Okay, what will your response be as somebody who's an influencer on Instagram? And Ayushi, you can pick your poison and tell me what you'll do if maybe say a LinkedIn, because you said that you've taken a lot of stuff off Quora or something. Maybe you can explain that philosophy as well when we come to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
think as like most of the TikTok influencers right now are trying trying and exploring different platforms. So mostly, first thing which I want to tell you is that if someone has a certain talent,
मैं कॉल बैक कर रहा हूँ तुम्हें.
Hello, I think we lost Arushi.
I think we heard Utkarsh say, yeah, he called someone
We
later.
got a guest on the show. That's Utkarsh. Hi, Utkarsh. Bye, Utkarsh. Okay.
Utkarsh, I think it's not on mute. Yeah. So as I was saying, like mostly it depends a lot on your talent also. Like because these TikTok influencers by now they have this hang of it. So TikTok was a medium where you have to post this 15-second of videos. So now they have this hang of it, how to do it on any other channel, any other platform. They know what they have learned and they know how to create an audience out of it. So now as like TikTok has shifted from like there's Reel, there's Roposo, there are 100 other platforms which are trying to make an upper edge over other platforms. So what I want to say is these TikTok influencers will not only shift to these platforms, but will have like this. There's this curve, no, that which you speak about. So they'll be the early adopters, and they'll make an impact earlier than the other people because all the other people will try to get a hang of it. All the other people will try to make those 15-second videos, try that it gets some likes and all or something like that. But
That's a
these,
very interesting answer, Arushi. But what you're saying, if I get you right, what you're saying is that you have enough practice as a TikTok star in order for you to become great on Instagram quickly. You've also built your community, which can be transported. So is that right?
yes. So mostly, be it any platform, most of the people subconsciously end up making our own community. There will always be people who will be there. So even if I talk about me, there are my 15 friends who will, even if I do something else today, make a political agenda also, they'll stand with me. So
Sure.
in a way, these Joe Rogan, they have this 15 people community everywhere. So be it any platform. So what I want to say is, like, even if Instagram shuts down tomorrow and I have to shift to other platforms, be it LinkedIn or there's this other alternative of Instagram, I will have these 70,000 followers in that. There will be 10% people who will come there as well because now they know who I am, now they know what I do. And they are like, they relate to me. That is the reason why they follow me. So
Got it.
I just want to, it's, yeah.
Got
So
it.
it's like a platform plus community plus your relatability kind of a thing.
Interesting. Ayushi, now diametrically opposite for you.
So for me, I'll actually start with why I left Quora. So platforms either are killed the way say TikTok was, or they die a natural death, or they start stagnating. And post I think 2015 was when I was a top writer for the second time round, and the platform went into this stage of decay because they couldn't really manage scale very well, right, in terms of quality of content. And I thought to have sometimes having great quality content on a poor platform reflects badly on the quality of content, and hence you will see people on Reddit or Twitter laugh about TikTokers or LinkedIn folks because they think they're a cut above, which is why I chose to move away from the platform. And they were very kind and they gave me all my content. So I have a repository of 7 years. But if, for instance, LinkedIn were to shut down, I think it would be a little difficult to find a replacement the way it's slightly easier for TikTok, right? I can go from TikTok to Instagram Reels. I can't imitate the world's largest professional community of 650 million people. There's nowhere on earth a parallel website that has so many white collar professionals and such an advanced recruiter talent solution sort of ecosystem, right? So it would be difficult, and I actually wouldn't even try to imitate my content. I would just move on and do something else.
Right. Is it because you've not particularly seen in being an influencer as the be all and end all, but as part of what you do in life?
I guess.
Yeah. Maybe that might be part of the puzzle here. Okay, so first googly up, second googly down your throats, both of you. Here is, what would you like to see as a different thing on your favorite medium of choice? Because as influencers, you have the ability to use and look at any platform differently, right? So the way in which Arushi sees an Instagram, for example, not many people actually are able to decode the way in which the Instagram algorithm is, and so it is for you, whether you can say it explicitly or not. Now, I'm trying to understand what would express you as a better creator, either on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you want to be in the future. Any one of you.
Arushi?
Mona.
Okay, I'll go first. I think LinkedIn is not built for content. I can't discover my old content. I can go to my activity, see my posts. It's always chronological. I can't filter. So it's actually a bad platform for content creation, which is why most content creators on LinkedIn fall into the category of people, dying to get a job and hence writing content just to build up visibility. um, or people who couldn't care less and they just want to put a WhatsApp forward there and get a few likes. It's not the best platform for mature and sophisticated content creators because it's not built for it. And perhaps they would want to actually relook at the way they do content and move from being move from just being a place where people looking for jobs put content as opposed to professional content.
Right. So yeah, no, I agree with you on that observation. I think it's a very clunky. But it's less clunky today than what it was maybe 5 years back. But I agree with you. What about Arushi? What do you think?
So, like, I have this point on LinkedIn. So, there's this recent app which discovered. It's called Blue Tie. Okay. So, what they are doing there is it's just related to
Yeah,
giving job opportunities. So, on LinkedIn, earlier people started because they wanted to have job opportunities. But later on, they started writing content and make this professional community and all. So, there's this app specific to just getting job opportunities. You just can connect to the individual directly. People write, I'm looking for a job opportunity. There are HRs who write, I'm looking for so and so people. They connect on this, and it's very objective driven networking. So, what maybe can happen in LinkedIn is there can be a certain place or a certain portal for where there's just objective driven happening and the job opportunity part is happening. So I totally know that there's this LinkedIn jobs right now, but this doesn't fulfill the purpose in times of COVID because people keep on writing, I am this, I lost the job and this is happening. And there are people who make on people like commenting on the post, write interested if you want a job. But it's more like engagement point of view and not actually the objective driven happening is happening. So maybe LinkedIn can have a specific thing where only this part happens and a lot of clutter will just go. And secondly, what my point related to Instagram is we are all are stuck in a content clutter right now. There's so like everyone has this point of view. Like in the starting, as you said, everyone has a point of view. Everyone wants to post. Everyone is someone on Instagram because there are a lot of mediums to post. There's reel now. There's IGTV. There's story. People keep on just bombarding the feed right now. So maybe Instagram can have is if suppose there are brand collaborations happening or there is this brand which is trying to contact an influencer who's posting about 100 other stuffs, and by the end of the day you don't even remember that person posted about Nike or Adidas, right? So that is also another brand dilution which is happening. So maybe to fulfill these 2 points, there could be a certain feature where you can know, like where you can filter out that what you want from the brand point of view and what you want from an influencer point of view and what you want from a general point of view, like or all the people who want to post about their lives. There can be a segregation which can be there to sort things and to make it better for everyone who's there on the platform.
Right. Thanks. Okay. By the way, you guys have entertained me, and I hopefully have made sure that you entertain yourselves for the past hour. I don't know how the hell time has gone in spite of all the interruptions and the rest of it. I do have one question, right? One question before I let you off the hook. And the question, both of you, right? If there's one tip of the trade that you have to give to any person who's trying to build a stronger brand on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, what would that one tip be from both of you? Any tip?
Okay.
So I'm major strategy and all, just one small tip.
I would just like to give this tip that be focused. If you are actually trying to build a brand, be focused in what you want to be and what you want to pitch yourself as. If you are
Well, I appreciate that, Arushi. That's still little strategic.
okay,
एकदम छोटा वाला टिप कि ये लाइटिंग अच्छी होनी चाहिए, so something like that, you know.
so I would like to say that test it out.